Good evening, Randomania. Welcome to game number 2 of the Zelda 1 Randomizer Random Percent Tournament for Spring 2020 between Bulleta and Xarnax42. I will be your host tonight. My name is Threech. I am joined tonight by Darkfalls. Darkfalls, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. We looked at some very speedy the Dongo on Xarnax's side. Let's just say this isn't part of this particular race, but still pretty fun to watch. That's a very fast.
I think Xarnax might be partaking in the, 300% speed hack that's available of Zelda 1, which, is definitely entertaining to watch, but very difficult to control. We'd like to thank everyone for their patience while we are getting set up. As most of you know, there's some weather happening in certain parts of the country that seems to have affected our starting on time tonight. So thanks for hanging in there. Glad everyone is here to watch this excellent race. Like I said, it is game 2 between Bulleta and Xarnax42. Bulleta taking game 1 after a pretty close lead over Xarnax, but we'll have to see. It's really anyone's game at this point. So, Darkfalls, you want to tell us about the losers, the remorse flag that has been set by Xarnax?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to have some interesting combat in this seed. Xarnax has chosen to change the enemy HP to a plus or minus 4 for basic enemies. So we could have some extremely beefy wizards, or we could have some very squishy ones. Give or take, we'll find out in probably about 5-10 minutes.
Yep, just a matter of time till we get this race going. If you are new to the Random Percent Tournament, welcome. We're glad to have you here. The Random Percent Tournament is a series of most of the flags in the Zelda 1 randomizer program that are set to either be on or be off. We do not know until the race has started, with the exception of the one that the loser of the first game actually set. So they get to choose after, once they've been defeated in the first game, they get to choose which flag they want to definitively be set on or off. And so that's what we're talking about with the remorse flag here. But we will be discovering as the game progresses, just along with the runners, which of these flags have been enabled and which ones are not.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those Pandora's box situations. We don't know what we have until we open it up. So we'll see what happens. We're going to be underway in probably about 10-15 seconds. To reach, where are we starting in high?
Ooh, that's a great question. We'll have to see once the game gets started. I'm not seeing it on my side quite yet.
No, we're not quite ready yet. We're still waiting for the RRC to finish counting down. So for me, I hate starting in that lower right-hand corner down in the dead woods. I'd rather start in like the forest, maybe up in the Lost Hills, somewhere there's a lot of open caves.
Oh yeah, you definitely don't want to start out in a literal or figurative desert where there are not a lot of spots to check, or something that's just a real pain to get to. If you're not by any transportation caves or take any caves or roads, then that's going to be tough for you too if you're starting out there. But that is a possibility that our take any roads are shuffled in this game as well. But we're about to, as Xarnax confirms, we do start out in a literal desert.
And it looks like we do have the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 Triforces. Maybe not 4. We don't know quite yet. That could be 4 or 5.
Yep, not too bad starting with 5 pieces of Triforce. So that means that our runners will be looking for the other 3 that they need to locate. And in addition to that, they will have to determine which items they are going to make a play for. So right off the bat, Bulleta here finds dungeon number 3 and also confirms that we are starting with the raft and the magical boomerang. So light combat if we have any 0 HP enemies, but other than that, we're going to have to go look for a sword or some bombs or a candle or anything that really can provide us with some kind of combat option.
So we see Bulleta dipping into level 3. She doesn't have a weapon yet. It is looking like it's a second quest level 3. We do see some red and yellow bubbles. Sorry, red and blue bubbles. So we know that 2 Qs on somewhere. And given that start screen and that first 4 rooms, that's looking like it's going to be a 2Q level 3. So therefore, we have the 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 Triforce.
Yep, and that tells us at the very least that dungeons 1 through 6 will be second quest dungeons. And so 7, 8, and 9 will be determined once we locate those dungeons. It will determine the dungeon map or the number of rooms that they have, etc. But as well as the enemies that are located within it. But it looks like we might be seeing these red Octoroks having rolled down to 0 HP. They are being taken out by one swing of a boomerang.
We
So
also have something pretty fun for us, not fun for Xarnax. He went north in that level 3, and we saw the immediate bait block, so we know for sure we need our bait in.
Ooh, that is rough. Yep. Bulleta finds dungeon number 6 and opts out. I really don't blame her for that. Dungeon 6 with no combat is not much of an option at all. You can do a little bit of exploration, but it is not going to be fun.
John Tabin in chat is correcting me, and he is correct. We are missing the level 5 Triforce. We have 4 and 5 swapped. My apologies. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6.
Yep, so we're going to have to locate those 3 dungeons. We've only seen 3 and 6 so far. Xarnax finds level 6 on his side, too. Bulleta is able to check the vanilla level 4 wrapped spot right off the bat, and doesn't really lead to much, and she's going to pick up the first secret here. The small secret rolls up to 12, so the secret shuffle is on, but we'll have to determine, as we find them, did they go up or down?
So when we're getting our seed here, you see Bulleta looking at the open caves. Xarnax kind of following suit. What they're also doing is looking at the Armos item. Our Armos item might be changed, so we might have that free item. However, if this is a 2Q overworld, we might want that power bracelet regardless. So it's definitely a good thing to get your power bracelet all the way early in the seed if possible.
Yeah, as many transport items as you can find off the bat, that will prevent you from getting stuck later on. If you can find the recorder early or the power bracelet early, they've already got the raft, so they're in good shape there. But if you could find those items, then you don't have much of a problem traversing the overworld, aside from maybe the combat that you run into.
And we have a full 2Q overworld, given that is a cave and a dungeon layout. So our overall is going to be a full 2Q setup, so we really want to get that power bracelet, and we really want to get that flute if possible.
Yep, plenty of overworld recorder spots that are available in second quest that are not available in first quest. So Bulleta goes down to the southwest corner of the map to do some exploration. Knocking these checks out of the way early is probably a good play. You don't really want to have to come back here later if you don't need to. One thing stopping both of these runners from additional exploration, though, will be bombs. So they'll need to pick up some bombs at some point, as Bulleta finds level 4 in the southwest corner of the map. So definitely pays off as far as knowledge is concerned. They've already got the Triforce piece out of 4, so really if they want to do any exploration for the items, that's their option.
Now you see her checking she's going towards the grave, so I mean she's going to check that Armos item up in the grave area here. Xarnax taking the other path, he's going to screen scroll over to it. But both of them kind of have the same idea to get that quick Armos item.
Yep, it's an easy pick up right off the bat. You can do it without too much trouble on the overworld. I say that, and then we run into orange Wizrobes on the overworld, but what are you going to do?
So that means we have orange Wizrobes and we have Pulse Voice on the overworld. 2 of the more time-consuming enemies in this flag setup with the ±4. So we don't have to deal with them in dungeons, so that's probably a good feeling. And I also want to make sure wand really powerful if we. And our Armos item is indeed shuffled. It was not at its vanilla spot, so therefore it's going to be over in the forest area somewhere, or up in the Lost Hill.
Yep, Xarnax picking up some bombs along the way, which will enable him to do a few more checks. Bulleta at vanilla first quest level 6 location locates the wood sword. Xarnax is about to pick that up in a second here. They will both be thankful to see that, because that will at least guarantee them the ability to take out some of the combat that's on the overworld here. Good for bomb farming and good just to clear out some enemies so you can move through them more safely. I think we just saw that a Tektite dropped a bomb, so we might have overworld enemy drop shuffle too.
We absolutely do. That's a good call. So that's one of the flags, is the enemies can drop different items than they're used to. So in this case, our orange Tektites will be dropping bombs for us. Hello, Wizards.
I don't even like to see blue Wizrobes when I know where they're going to be, let alone on the overworld. So Bulleta's about to take this Armos cave and find that it just holds a shop. We see the arrows rolled up. We saw the bombs rolled up too to 29 rupees, and Xarnax is heading into level 3 now with the wood sword. We'll be able to make a little bit more progress in this. So we'll also have to find out what the red bubble curse is in this flag set as well. So definitely an interesting time for Xarnax, depending on if he gets bopped by those bubbles.
I really hope it's not reverse control, so that's the bane of my existence. No, we got slow motion. So if you get touched by a red bubble, you're going to be going very, very slowly.
Oof. Yep, slow-mo in this case stands for slow moblin. Not good, but still not impossible. You do have a few conditions under which you can get rid of that curse, including running into a blue bubble, which is luckily spawned in level 3 here. So Xarnax just gets hit by one of the blue bubbles and is able to head out. They are trolling him a little bit, though. He gets hit by the blue bubble and then walks immediately into the red one. That it is incredibly difficult to avoid those, especially while you're moving slowly.
So Bulleta is going to be still focusing on getting those Armos checks. Trying to use some banana food to pick up some money. And one thing to note that our restreamer and CDM probably has mentioned in chat, we have permanent sword beams. So we will be able to shoot our swords as much as we want tonight without any...
Yep, that's good news. And a good point from chat, too. Cheap Candle rolled down 15 rupees to just 45 from the vanilla 60s. So Bulleta has enough rupees and will pick that up and finds the power bracelet there under the Armos in the forest. Unfortunately, he gets bopped by one of those blue whiz robes, but will not start too far from here. So we'll be able to go back and pick up the power bracelet. Oh, sorry, actually. Yeah, we'll be able to go back and pick up the power bracelet.
She also is going to check out level 3 and then find out that she needs some meat. There's the couple right-hand side doors here. Don't do anything for us. See, I'm an absolute coward when it comes to fighting Darknuts. I'll just chop into the blocks so they can't touch me.
Hey, it is foolproof. If you can do it, then it is absolutely a valid way to do it. That's how I try to get... I'll tell you what, I would not have beaten second quest if I had not used that strategy. So you can clip into the blocks here and then take down these enemies. Bulleta, unfortunately, with that slow curse, just those blue dark nuts are going to hit for 2 hearts a pop. So it is not... It's really easy to get taken down by those. So Xarnax is doing a few checks up here in the northeastern corner of the map, and we're going to check the letter spot here to find a potion shop, so nothing immediately available. And we'll head over to the Deadwoods Secret. I think it's the Deadwoods. At the very least, it's the one in the northeast corner. I always get the forests in this game confused.
It's the Lost Hills.
Sure. It turns out I can't see the forest for the trees. So there we go. We're going to go in here and check out what this cave holds, which is pretty much just a mugger. So I'm going to head out and then head up into the northeastern most corner of the map to check this original secret location.
Bulleta's sticking into this level 3. We know she's getting beaten up a little bit. Now, one thing she could do would be to leave and save the room and come back in and see exactly what the enemies are when they respawn. Maybe get some easier enemies in here. I'm going to try to hide in the blocks and do what she can with the sword.
Yep, seems to have found a pretty good vantage point here to take down some of the dark nuts, but yeah, those red dark nuts I think rolled up to 7 HP each, which is brutal given that they start normally with 4. So that's an example of where we're seeing that plus or minus 4 HP flag really have an effect, but picks up the compass, is rewarded with that for her troubles. So just a few rooms away, but we know that she will need to find the bait before she can make it through.
Well, one thing to note too is they don't need the trap force here anyway, so she knows that at worst she doesn't need to clear whatever room that is.
That is a great point.
That's one of the decent parts of the compass, I guess, right now, is that it tells her that she doesn't need to clear a specific room. So that's a room with like 8 blue dark nuts, then she knows she can just pass it off.
Definitely. So Xarnax is able to do a few more overworld checks here. Is just going through, finds the bait there for 80 rupees. We should find, I think, a cheaper bait elsewhere once we're able to locate more shops. Bulleta is going to clear out this room, and I don't think we saw anything on Xarnax's side except the map, which we already knew was second quest level 3, given the starting position within the dungeon.
Yep, and then one thing to note is one room up is the bait block, so therefore we are 100% blocked from whatever that is, whatever item is in level. Blood using the blue boomerang to quite some extensive use in this seed so far. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. I am surprised. I don't know the consistency exactly for drop variety when it comes to shuffled overworld drops like that. So you know, and maybe you can elaborate on this if there's any sort of tell of whether an enemy is going to be able to drop bombs or if it is completely randomized.
It is completely randomized. You have to kind of keep notes of what you've seen drop and what you haven't.
All right, and the only thing I think we've confirmed so far are those orange Tektites, so not ideal. There's Bulleta's confirmation that this indeed is a second quest overworld. And we saw Xarnax, I believe on Xarnax's side, that the medium secret rolled up to 36 from 30, but still to be determined. The large secret, we're only going to find one on the overworld here since it is a second quest overworld.
Bulleta trying to bomb the forest. Cannot do that, unfortunately. Sorry, Bulleta. That is quite a rude screen to get stuck with 3 blue wizards.
Yeah, you're kind of forced into a tunnel there, and there's really no escaping. So Xarnax finds an any cave up here. Or take any cave down along the coast on the south shore.
Funny enough, we're 14 minutes and we only found 1 dungeon so far. Well, 2, I guess. We have level 6 also.
Yep, level 3 and level 6. Unfortunately, neither Triforce needed, so we're still still on the lookout for, 6 more. No, math.
Actually, I think we saw level 4 also, so we have 3 dungeons.
Alright, I think we did also get confirmation that the orange Wizrobes, yep, they drop bombs too. So we've got 2 confirmed, so one of them I think is considerably easier. So if if either of the runners runs into orange Tektites or orange Wizrobes, then they'll be able to take them both down for a bomb drop.
Both kind of in the same section of high roll at the moment, getting a little bit of high five and action going on, but not much up here.
Yep, they still are. They've got plenty of checks in the center of the map. Really, they've got all Candle Row. They can, head up into Death Mountain pretty much at any point. Again, the determining factor is going to be bombs. They are going to need them for a lot of exploration on the overworld. So we'll just, we'll have to see that. And then the recorder as well. I mentioned before there were a ton of recorder spots available. So we'll see what they run into as Xarnax pushes the second quest level 4 location and finds a medium secret, just as Bulleta gets that take any cave.
The recorder actually has some other unique properties too, which we'll explain once we find it, particularly in this seed.
Yep, so level 7 on Xarnax's side could be first or second quest, I think, but does find that Triforce right off the bat underneath that Patra, which is really reluctant to give it to him.
Well, it's definitely not second. It could be second, or it should be first or shapes. But it definitely wasn't second because you could go up. You could go up a room. 2Q7, you wouldn't be able to go up here.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep. So I think
it's smelling like a first quest 7 to me.
Yep. So I think
could be shapes though.
33 rooms, which is just awful. So Xarnax is going to do a little bit of exploration here. It does have a few combat options, but we see the Keese rolled up too, which is just sort of insult to injury, I think.
Well, if this is 1Q7, we have a transport, therefore we know this should be our item. If it's another transport, we know we have shape. It's our item. It is our silver arrows. That's huge for Xarnax.
Oh, wow. Yeah, what an early find. Now, it is worth noting that, Ganon is not necessarily required in these seeds, but there is always a possibility that, if you can't get into Zelda's room within level 9, that you will need to defeat Ganon. And if that's the case, you do need to dig out the bow and silver. So that's a really great find for Xarnax early on in 7.
Well, especially because this is kind of a flip of what happened in the last seed, where Bulleta found the silver arrows in the first 15 minutes, and Xarnax did not. And that's kind of what turned the first seed around. In this seed, we have Xarnax picking up the arrows in the first 15 minutes. We'll see what Bulleta does when she finds level. Because if she takes that quick Triforce and runs, that's going to be a little troublesome if Ganon's needed.
Yep, definitely the right play for Xarnax, I think, at this point. Early on, you can find that. And then, at the very least, if you do need to take Ganon down later, you just have one piece of the puzzle to lock in, which is the bow, which should be able to find among the other dungeons that are out in the wild here. Man, it looks like those ropes rolled up too. They're just not having any of it.
Why's it always got to be snakes?
I feel like I've heard that somewhere before.
Snakes on a plane. The best awful movie ever.
I would throw Sharknado in there as a contender too.
I've actually never seen Sharknado, so I can't comment on that one. We have Bulleta going up to the coast draft, and it is not a level; it is just a game.
And we saw Xarnax over on his side took a beam from a Wizrobe right to the face. Unfortunately, Death on the Overworld is going to send him back to the start over here in the desert.
Bulleta is heading up towards possibly the Vanilla 5 area, so we'll see if she goes into level 7 or not. We know that she needs the Triforce out there at the very least, so she's going to have to go in for something. We'll see if she actually stays for that.
Yep, Xarnax picked up a candle and is now doing plenty of overworld checks too.
Yeah, you kind of just see the situation of where they're kind of swapping sides. Bulleta did this while Xarnax was in 7, and now Bulleta is going towards 7 while he's doing this. So it's kind of just a flip around him.
Yep, and I think Xarnax has confirmed over there that orange Wizrobes, red Wizrobes are being taken down. They either have 0 HP or 1 HP, so good to confirm. I think also is just now confirming that this is the second quest overworld too. Try to burn that bush, and unfortunately gets hit one too many times and takes another death over there, but isn't too far from where he starts out, so opts to go in a different direction for exploration here.
Bulleta may not realize this is a full 2Q overworld quite yet because she's checking the Vanilla 5 spot, which is just a fairy. But she's going to find level 7 here. So this is going to be interesting if she gets Triforce and runs, or if she actually looks for the item as well.
Yeah, she also didn't... I don't think she checked the second quest level 4 location, although I may have just missed it.
She did. She checked it.
Okay. Good news. So Bulleta grabs the Triforce there out of 7. Is she going to go back in and dig for more?
No, she is walking away, so that's potentially troublesome. We'll see what happens, because there's a chance that Ganon still is not needed, but this puts a pendulum back over towards Xarnax if he is, for sure.
Yep. Oh, there's a large secret rolled down to 82 rupees. So it's the only one they should find on this overworld, and it was not generous. But still, better than nothing, and at least it's enough to buy the bait. So we won't know until this race is almost at its end that, whether the silver arrows were a red herring for Xarnax. So it's interesting to consider that, he made a good play early on and located the silver arrows pretty quickly, which Bulleta should have no problem with if she does need to return later to level 7. Xarnax grabs the bait over on his side. But if they are not required, then Xarnax did take a little bit more time than was absolutely necessary. to go find them. So overall, probably not a huge loss, but if Xarnax takes that bait, no pun intended, and goes to find the bow after the fact, then that could absolutely be the difference between their two times.
I like this play by Xarnax, going and grabbing the meat, going back to level 3. He did use his meat, though. He could have up and 8 and saved it in case he needs it a second time. What he's going to do is look for the quick floor item here, and since it's such a small dungeon, this could be a good place to see if Heart Shuffle's on or not. But no key, so we can't check the north. You got some beefy gels.
Yeah, it feels like all of the low HP enemies in this seed rolled up, and a lot of the higher HP enemies rolled down.
And we see Bulleta grabbing her meat as well, so she may be on his tails of going to check level 3 also. We see a lifelike with a rupee, so not much helping us there. And in the next, we have a heart container on the floor, so our other item is going to be door block.
Alright, so that could be a matter of buying a key, it could be a matter of saving one from another dungeon, but speaking of other dungeons, Bulleta over here is located level 5, right next to Vanilla's first quest start. Not too bad.
We've had 5 and 6 right next to each other. I'm surprised that she left level 5, though, considering that we need the Triforce there.
Possible, maybe, that she's got 5 marked instead of 6. I mean, anything is possible at this point. I'll tell you what, as someone who is not racing this, it's confusing for me to keep track of, let alone actually running this too. So it's hard to say, but we shall see.
Yeah, she's actually someone who runs side quests quite a lot. And level 61, the Triforce actually never changes, surprisingly. We'll see, though. I'm sure she has a plan of some sort.
I don't think anyone's plans ever include a Patra, unfortunately, but sometimes it's just a necessary evil. But she's got beams, so we'll be able to stand over here and take it down, albeit slowly, so should be not too much of an issue, I think.
Xarnax going to be finding that same Patra momentarily as well. Bulleta's just content to sit by the door and just poke away at it until it falls over. Our blue guerrillas, however, are extremely squishy. They just go down in one click.
Yep, it looks like Xarnax is actually in level 5. They might have the same palette. It's that nice, I want to call it chartreuse, but I feel like I just love the word puce, and I think that that's really what describes this color better. That nice golden yellow, shall we say.
And a very quick Triforce in 5 as well. So that lets Xarnax know he's just one away from potentially going into level 9. We'll see what happens if he chooses to dig out next. Now, Bulleta may be here in 6 looking for the ladder. Because if our items are not shuffled, which unfortunately we know they are, she does not, ladder would have been here. But we'll see what happens and what she finds.
Yep, so there's the letter on Xarnax's side, so if he needs to pick up a potion, at least he will be able to now. Should be able to afford both, but it's going to do a few extra checks here. I don't know if Xarnax... No, Xarnax definitely has been to level 6 right here, so it's just doing a few more overworld checks next to start.
Yeah, I think he's ignoring it because he already has it, which you can't blame him. Now, you see something interesting there. Xarnax is one of the very few people who will routinely buy the big shield. He's a very large proponent of it. So, that's something he usually does, and he does it here. And Dracia bring up a good point that we have 0 HP bosses, so all of our bosses are going to be kind of squishy.
Ooh, walks right into a room of blue gorillas. Those things are nasty. So, unfortunately, Bulleta looks like, unless this bombs... Oh, almost spoke too soon. So there's a key door over to the left. There's one up north here, so we'll see if she's able to make more progress. But unfortunately, she is ladder blocked.
Yeah, nothing doing level 6, unfortunately. Gonna leave for now and come back. Ooh, gets beat. Oh no, gets beaten up by the blue wizard.
Yeah, I feel like blue wizrobes are always in one camp. They either, for some reason, they're avoiding you, or they're just sort of skirting the entire room, or they charge and they are merciless. So it's one or the other. Bulleta's going to come in here, has the bait, but also will run into an issue of not having any keys. And I believe we confirmed earlier that that does prevent us from making it up to the northern part of this long bit of 3.
Now, Blood did what I love when runners do. She basically stole the lunch from the old man. So what you can do is what you saw her do is you can put it down, wait until the old man starts blinking, then up an A. You actually save your meat so you don't have to buy it a second time.
I didn't know that was possible. At this point, I would expect that nothing surprises me with this game, but I'm always learning something new almost every time I watch it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the beautiful facets of the randomizer, especially a flag set like this, which is why we wanted to run this tournament. Where we're using flags that we don't normally see.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned, did Xarnax buy a big shield, or is it just that he tends to buy a big shield?
He did in fact buy one.
Okay, so that confirms that we don't have Boomstick, which is my favorite non-traditional flag to be enabled. Bulleta unfortunately gets hit by a red bubble there, saves, and then heads back to start.
So I did peek at Bulleta's tracker for a second just to see what was going on with level 5. And she knows she needs that Triforce, so I'm a little confused as to why she didn't go in. We'll have to see when she has to go back over there. But she knows that she...
Interesting, okay.
And it could be heading that way now. She might have just wanted to check level 3 first.
We'll see what her play is. But, yep, it looks like we do have Vanilla take any roads. And yeah, she's beelining right there for level 5, so... Oh, again, spoke too soon. She walks right by.
She wants a revenge match against these wizards here on this screen. And we'll see if they get her again. And they do, unfortunately, when she gets the cave. Kind of a rude overworld so far. Well, they're going to stop and get some HP back before heading back down there.
Yep. Good thing is knowing where these fairy fountains are, just in case you need them. But I'm sure if if the red ring is shuffled among any of these dungeons here, I'm sure the runners will be happy to find it. But green tunic for combat that's this tough is really no joke.
Yeah, blue wizards with their beams will do 2 points of damage, and if you touch them, they'll be another 2 points of damage. So there's really no safety almost.
Yep, all that trouble for Bulleta just to get in here and find a blue candle, a shield, and a key.
No, that's a $73 shield, so that's actually not a bad thing in this overworld, because we do have a lot of wizards.
Very true. There's Xarnax picking up a key off the ground in level 4, so pretty good find. Doesn't need the Triforce out of 4, but at least can make a little bit of progress here. And if you're picking up keys, then that's honestly a good enough reason to be anywhere, because we have definitely seen chat pointing out earlier that if you've got second quest levels 1 through 6 and then first quest levels 7 through 9, you are definitely going to be hurting for keys. So I would not be surprised if we saw these runners pick up at least 1 key from a shop.
It is a second quest overworld, so we only have 1 large secret, though. That money might be interesting. That's a very large medium secret, though, so we will see.
And if you haven't found any sword upgrades, well, I guess we did find magical sword earlier, but if you haven't picked any up yet, at least permanent sword beams is kind of a nice thing to have.
Looks like Bulleta may be joining Xarnax here on level 4.
Ooh, Xarnax runs out of bombs and unfortunately encounters a dig dogger there, so without the recorder or more bombs, won't be able to do any checks there quite yet. So there's our bomb upgrade on Bulleta's side, plus 3 bombs, not too bad. plus you get the refill. So starting this level with 11 bombs is definitely ideal if you get the option.
Nice little candle boost by Bulleta to get around that red bubble before I could touch her.
Yep. Goes down, sees another room full of bubbles, and says, "This is not for me."
Looks like Bulleta. Looks like Bulleta's going to clear out this room of Dark Nuts instead of passing it. I think Xarnax clear out too. I don't think there's anything in here. Nice clock though.
Yeah, oh, definitely. If you can find one in a room like this, that is your saving grace. So all that for a map. Not the end of the world, but not what you want to find.
Now we have keys now. I'm very interested to see if they'll save their game after this dig. And then up an A and check level 3 now they can get past that key door. They already invested the meat into it, so you know they're going to want to check it at some point. And why not now that you have keys?
Yep, absolutely. It's pretty close to start, and you have the option, so might as well either satisfy the curiosity or just make a check that you know you can make.
Level 4 living up to its traditional of being quite the time sink, unfortunately, for both runners.
Yeah, hoping it pays off, but we know we don't need the Triforce out of here, so it's just a matter of finding the item.
And with this being 2Q4, there are going to be 2 items, not just 1. One thing you won't see Bulleta do is bomb walls twice or check walls twice. She's probably one of the best people I've seen at actually tracking levels. She's very, very proficient at it.
Yeah, keeping that in mind in addition to just running the game itself is it's almost like an art form. It takes so much concentration and so much skill to just be able to change between the two and still, get meaningful information out of it. Yeah, definitely paying off in her favor for determining which doors and rooms she's already checked.
Now, we see level 8 on Xarnax's side. It's still the last dungeon we need before level 9. So this is kind of big for him. We do see Bulleta going right back into level 3, which is what I assume she would.
There's a ladder block there for Xarnax. Now, at this point, I mean, there's definitely a few ways that this race could go, but if Xarnax is able to pull the Triforce out of here without any additional transportation items like the ladder or the recorder or anything like that, or the bow, if there's a Goma block, something like that, then Xarnax can basically head straight to level 9. So Xarnax, speaking of, manages to find the recorder here in level 8. So definitely useful. It's good for overworld transportation, also good for defeating dig doggers. Bulleta, unfortunately, gets taken down there in level 3 and is going to give that another shot.
So our Triforce here in level 8 is going to be blocked by this Patra. I think Xarnax's going to look for that second item if he can. And we do notice that we do have a first quest level 8, which is nice to know.
Yep. Oof. This manhandler is just being avoidant, but there we go. Xarnax takes it down, so you don't have to fight that again, which is always really nice. And there's the ladder, the other item here in level 8. Excellent find. Should relieve any or alleviate any concerns about rooms being ladder blocked, at least in level 9, once you're on your way to find Ganon and or Zelda.
So really now the only major thing that could hold Xarnax up would be that bow, which could still be anywhere.
Yep. Now we mentioned it before Dark Falls, and I just wanted to give an opportunity to talk about the mechanics of the recorder. I don't think we're going to see it too much here, but since Xarnax picked that up, you want to talk about what the recorder can do depending on the flag that's rolled?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, with Xarnax having all 8 Triforces momentarily, it could bring him to anywhere that he's already beaten. It could bring him to the vanilla spots of those dungeons, so we could go to either the new level 8 or the old level 8. However, if Bulleta was to find it, there's a chance I could bring him to level 5, which is unbeaten for her. It has a lot of power in its flag set. It's something that people try to find really early, especially if they had what's the unbeaten dungeons.
Yep, so we won't see too much of an advantage for Xarnax, and if he's able to get the Triforce here out of 8, which I believe he's just 1 room away, plus a Patrick Hill. But once he takes this down, then if it's unbeaten, then won't be too much of an advantage. But definitely, if this moves on to game 3, we'll see them being able to take it, and we see that most of the or we'll see that the cases where it is whistle to unbeaten dungeons will come into play for a lot of the tournament games, the ones that we've seen so far and the ones that we'll continue to see.
Now, one thing to note is Bulleta redug all that level 3 to get to the final room, just to go on what she can't beat because she doesn't have a bow.
Unbelievable. 3 major blocks. Just the bait, the key, and then the bow.
What a rude level.
What do you think's in level 3? What's behind that Goma block? What do you guys think?
It's definitely a banana.
I think there's nothing else it can be. I think that's the one thing. There's Xarnax picking up his last piece of Triforce in level 8, so now can head to level 9 and do that check. Is Ganon required, or can you just walk right into Zelda's room?
Now, with this flag set, there is the chance that our important items are in level 9, so there is the off chance that the bow could be here. Now, Bulleta's not too far from finding level 5 or 9, for that matter. Bulleta unfortunately taking a death on the overworld.
Yeah, that death up on Death Mountain, while aptly titled, is still pretty difficult. You do have to make your way back there. Using the Take Any Roads, you can get there a little bit more quickly, but still, there's all that travel in the overworld that you don't really want to have to take unnecessarily. So she'll go up here and get a full health refill, which is very nice for tanking these enemies, and then probably head right back up.
Okay, she may be heading to 5 now, just to get it done. And she is. Okay, so we'll see what level 5 holds. If this is going to be our bow, that can be very big for her if Ganon's needed. I don't think Xarnax will come back here for...
Yep, whew. Those 0 HP bosses. You love to see them.
Especially if it's a Gleeok, because Gleeok's are the worst.
Yep, any amount of combat you can save is definitely a boon. So Xarnax picks up a pack of bombs there over in the shop, and I think is heading back to level 9.
A little hesitant to enter right now. With it being a first quest level 9, there is potential for it to be very key blocked, so we'll see how level 9 treats him.
Yep. It's a pretty slim chance, but there's definitely a possibility that the any key is shuffled into level 9. So he could find that in his travels. Again, it's a pretty small chance because we are looking at all of these other dungeons that haven't been explored or even really discovered. So it does depend on how the item shuffles panned out.
Just for the record, Xarnax has been having issues with the weather. So we'll see when he comes back through.
Yep, thanks everyone for your patience. Stay safe if you're in an affected area. It's been a little hectic this week as far as weather is concerned, so we appreciate you hanging in there. So question in chat, they started out with I think 6 Triforces and either 5 or 6 Triforces, and they are able to get to the dungeons for the Triforces that they've already completed if they have the items to get there on the overworld, but they don't need to go and dig those dungeons unless there is an item in them that is required. So they started with the raft and the magical boomerang, and they basically were looking for dungeons 5 and 8, or 5, 7, and 8, I think, and that's where we are trying to pick up those other items from, but you don't really need a lot.
Now, we do see Xarnax unfortunately froze on his screen. He has finished, however, and with a time of 41:57 in the IRC. It's just that his stream kind of froze a little bit. But let's get some GG's in chat for Xarnax.
Yep, and since Xarnax was able to get in there and finish without the bow, it does confirm to us that Ganon was not required, so went in and was able to locate Zelda.
And with that bleep, Dulu has Xarnax to chat with us. GG, sir. Well played.
Thank you.
So we did lose your stream a little bit going into level 9. How was level 9? Well, how far was she?
Oh, did you not see it at all?
No, you froze up a little bit on us.
Well, you said a little bit, but it sounds like a lot.
Yeah, we lost about the last minute and a half, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I think she was up. Through the old man screen, you had to go up, and then from the Lionels, I bombed left, and then she was one screen down.
So very quick level 9 then.
Ridiculous, yeah. And like you were forced to go left unless you wanted to use a key. So yeah, options were pretty limited. I actually was really lucky. I should have gone up. I had an option to go up from that room that I was in, but I guess I don't know why I chose to go down, but there she was.
Yep, sounds like it was the right choice. Definitely, we saw a lot of instances in this seed where you were out of keys. So we saw the blocks in level 3, which plagued both of you. You were both running into some, but
Yeah.
that darn level 3. What do you think?
I mean, I guess I'm glad that Bulleta ran into the same issues. Yeah, it was a really interesting, just because partly because of what happened to me in the last race, when I missed one item that she got, and that decided the whole race, and partly just the blocks that I ran into in this one. I dove a number of things that I normally wouldn't have. I mean, I really should have just 8 and 7 and 4, all of them. There was no real good reason for me to not just keep plowing on until I had exhausted my overworld, but the nagging feelings from the last race where I could be missing something 1 or 2 rooms in, I was just like, I need to explore a little bit, see if I can come across something. And I think all of those dives ended up paying off. Well, actually, 7 was good because it gave me the silvers, which was good just for peace of mind, and knowing that important items weren't in 9. That really didn't come into play. I would have saved time had I not done that. But it was good knowledge. 4 was good, even though I didn't get any items out of it. I did come out with a couple keys, which ended up being a big deal, I think.
Yep, great. So if Ganon had been required, what was your next play? Would you have left level 9 to find the bow, and where? If so, where would you?
It really depends on how far into 9 I got. But most likely, the first thing I did as soon as I finished 8 was blow the recorder. I wanted to know if it recorded to, if it would take me to new beaten dungeon locations, then I could figure out where all the levels I hadn't seen yet were. Then had that been the case, then I would have just gone through those before worrying about 9. Since it didn't. I got no whirlwind at all. I really am not sure. I probably would first have gone to 6. I think it was the only dungeon I hadn't really dove at all, that I knew the location of. I may have considered looking for 1 or 2, a couple small dungeons and the white sword item, I don't think I'd seen that either. So there was a lot of overworld still in play. And having the recorder, I probably could have. Yeah, it's hard to say what I would have done. I think
Yeah.
I probably would have left 9 unless I had explored a large chunk of it.
Yeah, definitely. So it looks like, we didn't get to see, it feels like a lot of the game. It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
You just needed to pick up a few Triforce pieces there. I am interested, however, in the loser's remorse. Sorry, not to call it the loser's flag, the remorse flag that you chose from your first game, your first round with Bulleta,
Yeah.
to roll the enemy HP up and down. What was your thinking behind choosing that flag?
I've been playing vanilla for a really long time, so I felt like I probably had a combat advantage. Our first seed was 0 HP, and I didn't want that to be a possibility because I felt like that neutralizes any combat advantage that I might have.
So Bulleta has actually just found level 8. That's kind of what was kind of holding her up a little bit.
Oh, okay. I assume she just found 9 right before that.
Yep.
And then eight's Triforce is the only one she's missing.
Yep.
So she should be done in about 5 minutes, maybe less.
Yep, it does depend on that turn in level 9, but yeah, it's been a pretty quick seed here. Under 50 minutes, and it almost has all of the Triforce pieces.
Yeah. I was really worried when mostly when I spent a fair amount of time in 4 and felt like I came up empty. But and I was worried if Ganon's not required, if I don't need these silvers that I dug out, then I wasted time in 7 and 4. And if 9 is free, then I could be moving down to the lower bracket real soon. Well, I guess I got lucky.
Yep. Sometimes I think in these seeds, it's definitely just a matter of, like you mentioned with the first round, it's just a matter of one person finds one item before the other, or it's one decision that you make that can absolutely affect the outcome of the game. So you chose correctly. Even if you'd meant to go up and you went down instead in level 9, it looks like that paid off too. So well done on that. Are you doing anything specifically to prepare for the next game?
I don't think so. I've been playing, joining in races when I can. I really, really love this flag set. I do think it does. Well, I was gonna say it it makes luck a bigger factor, but that's not always true. I mean, I think shapes and heart shuffle do the same thing, even if none of the other flags are on. But I like just playing these flags and spinning the whole race, figuring out what's on and what's off. Is the last rando tournament was my favorite one I've ever been a participant of, and this one is right up there. It's a different way to play the game, and it makes it all really enjoyable for me. So I'm just enjoying each one as I get to experience it.
Yep, that's what we love to hear. That's what it's all about too, is having a good time and seeing how can we break this game. And so far we have found several ways to do so.
Have you guys discussed when Game 3 may be?
We have not. My availability is pretty open, so I'll probably just roll with her schedule.
I know she's basically in that same boat because of everything that's going on in the world right now. Which is kind of another good reason why we kind of had this tournament of kind of forgetting what's going on outside of video gaming for a little while.
Sure.
She just saw that patch on level 8 where the Triforce was and decided to pass it up for now.
Yeah, for some reason, when I got to that room, I was thinking, I didn't even look at my map. I was just like, I need to go one more column to the left. And it's kind of funny, because I didn't need the ladder, but somehow missing that queue got it for me, which was, I mean, yeah, I mean, it made me feel more comfortable going into 9. How many keys does she have?
She has 2 at the moment, and she's about to kill the patcher. She just got her ladder.
Nice. Yeah, I don't think I needed any keys in 9 anyway. But having a couple of those, the ladder, certainly made it more comfortable going in.
Yeah, you don't want to have to run out after you're pretty deep into 9 and then your key blocked or bomb blocked. So definitely not a situation if you have a 9 that lasts more than 5 rooms.
Right.
So how did you feel about this seed compared to the first one? Was it more comfortable for you?
I would say it was pretty comparable. I had some really bad overworld deaths.
Yeah, that's kind of what held Bulleta up the most. I want to say she had quite a few deaths, which is kind of abnormal for her.
Gotcha. Yeah, the Wizrobes and Pool's voice on the overworld. I need to. I think a lot of the damage I took was because I was walking around and trying to track at the same time, and that probably bit me in the butt a few times.
So she went back into 8 to grab the heart piece at the start of the dungeon. I like that. That's amusing.
Oh, because she got the ladder, right?
Yeah, not a bad play if you're going into 9 on the green tunic. You don't know what you're going to find. Well, we know what you're going to find, but Bulleta at this point does not.
Well, she tested her Triforce. It didn't blow her anywhere, so that means it brought her to unbeaten dungeons.
Yep, so definitely useful, if you find it early on in the seed, but at this point, late recorder with unbeaten dungeons isn't going to do you too much good, so Bulleta should be, able to head to level 9. I think she did find it on her side, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she knows where it is. I'm not sure why she saved out of 8. I think just to get the HP refill, but I don't know. She's heading back there right now. She may have saved to save her keys.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yep.
That's a really smart play.
Okay, so here's that Lionel room, and she's gonna bomb up. Won't find it. Will she bomb left? Yes, she does.
Now does she go down or does she go up? That's the big question. She is gonna go up. So no, wait, hold on. She's going down.
She's deliberating. All right.
So let's get some GG in the chat for Bulleta. She's gonna finish with a 56.27. She's gonna come into chat. She won't be into a voice with us, but she'll be in chat momentarily. And we do have Bulleta in chat. Let's GG Bulleta. Well played.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. Two directions, and you chose the right one. So you don't want to be digging through level 9 any more than you need to. So well done on that. Find a Zelda there. She's just a few rooms away and no Ganon, so about as friendly of a 9 as you can really get.
She won't be into a voice with us, but she'll be in chat momentarily.
GG, Bulleta.
So she said in chat she wanted to check for 6 and 4 first to find the ladder, which would be a smart play if the item shuffle was on, so I can definitely see why she did. So, Bulleta, do you know what the remarks flag for Game 3 will be?
Ooh, I approve.
So, Bulleta's choice for the remarks flag is going to be turning level numbers on, which is definitely a powerful flag, so I definitely like that decision by her.
Man, the combination of that with shapes is one of my worst nightmares. I'm so bad at tracking that.
Yeah, you kind of have to count the rooms and mark down how many rooms of each one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Threech, any final question before we send this off for the next race?
Nothing
I've
for
got-
me. Oh, go ahead.
Just a funny comment that Bulleta is going to appreciate. It didn't end up coming into play because Ganon wasn't required. But for some reason, like I was just worried about not having something I needed. So one of the first levels I found was 7, and I ended up diving and finding the silver arrows in it. And in my head, I was just like, if this is just the exact reverse of the first race, I'm going to laugh.
Yeah, kind of was. She went into 7, got the Traverse and left, so it would have been that if needed.
All right, so with that, I think we can wrap that up. Thanks again, Xarnax, for joining us in the booth, and thanks again, Bulleta, for the race tonight as well. GGs to both of you for finishing up, and TBD on when Game 3 is going to be. So everyone, keep an eye out for that. Make sure you get out there and give these runners a follow. Make sure we've got the commands in chat right there. So give Bulleta and Xarnax42 each a follow. I'm sure they appreciate it. They do good work, so make sure you reward them for that. Thanks again to our restreaming staff and Dracia for being our tracker tonight. So this is not an easy thing to pull off, so we just make it look easy. So thanks to everyone for giving of their time to make this happen. And yeah, that's all from me, Dark Falls. But thanks again for having me on.